So, for the World Championship, the second MENA seed, called Anything, forfeited their spot at Worlds, which meant a free spot was opened, and they really needed to fill that spot, or else the 15th team Swiss would not function properly. Let's just say that much. So they needed another team, right? So they tried to decide who are we gonna get in, and they decided with the fifth EU team, OXG Esports. Now a lot of people have been complaining, Luminosity's in there slash RMC, whatever you want to call them. Maybe OCE fans are calling for Chiefs, Complexity as well. Um, and then maybe even elevate, right? Because there's different rules you can look at here. One argument here for luminosity, for example, would be that they are NA. They're easier to get in. The World Championship is an NA, so it's easier to get luminosity there. Some people said, but hey, complexity. They have more points. They're from SAM. SAM's considered a big region. Maybe they deserve it more. Some arguments are saying, oh well, if we base it off of that logic, well then Elevate, they have 97 points in all-around season points, so they have even more points in complexity. Maybe they should be going instead, or maybe use that as an argument to say that Oxygen is completely fine. And I'm going to reiterate that as well. I'm going to back that statement, that opinion. I think this was a good choice. I think it was the correct choice to do it here, to pick Oxygen as a last spot here for Worlds. Reasons being, Europe has been the best region for a long time, and then other than that, you got to look at results, right? You need that objectivity to it, where you look at a number, it's bigger than the other number, and it's the best number to look at out of all the numbers, right? All season points don't really matter, right? Because you could be getting those points in a region that isn't that good. But what we do know is that Oxygen was at a more recent major than Luminosity. We do know that Oxygen was at a more recent major than Complexity. We do know that they were at a more recent major than Elevate, right? So they've outperformed all of them based on, the most recent split. And within the splits that they respectively made majors in, I believe Luminosity, they went 2 and 3, Complexity went 2 and 3, Oxygen they went 2 and 3. Elevate certainly didn't. They did much worse than that. So we're gonna cancel out Elevate from that discussion already. But they all got the same result pretty much. I mean, let's just look at their major results in game diff, to go a little bit more in depth, if you will. Then you see that Oxygen had a 0 game difference, which is better than Luminosity's and equates that of Complexity. So overall, Oxygen, more recent good results, and equates the Complexity and is above that of Luminosity's major performance. That plus Europe has been the best performing region this season. All those factors combined, it is an obvious pick to go for Oxygen for the World Championship. So, I don't think there's anything wrong with choosing Oxygen. I think it's the perfect choice. If they did choose Luminosity or RMC, I wouldn't have complained because I think it's financially logical, but it doesn't make it the correct one in terms of who deserved it the most. Realistically, Oxygen Esports are the most logical pick in terms of results as to who should be at the World Championships. So quickly, just wanted to jump into my own video to mention a couple things which I didn't already. First thing that's important to mention is that none of the top 8 MENA teams could attend. This is something that I didn't mention in the video, but that's why no MENA teams are in the conversation here. None of them could attend, and we don't want to be getting a MENA team that's way down in the pecking order. Other than that, Gibbs also mentioned that Complexity were closer to the SAM spot than Oxygen were to the EU spot, which is a decent point, but I think it's important to note that at the end of last season, when we still had an EU number 5, EU number 5 made top 6 at the last spring major, which was further than any SAM team that event, and in Worlds made it further than all SAM teams except for one who finished the same as the EU number 5. Other than that, as well, Sam number two hasn't really done anything to warrant another team from the region in a major event like this. I mean, I know this is Worlds, so not a major, but yeah, Europe has won most majors and all recent World Championships. We haven't had an EU number five this season, but it's fair to say that EU number four has outperformed Sam number two without question. So I think that's important to add to that conversation about complexity being closer to Sam's spot than oxygen to the EU spot. Important to add as well to what I alluded earlier, which is that we've had no EU number five. The thing is that wasn't because EU number five wasn't performing good enough. So it's kind of bringing back what really didn't have a good enough reason to be to be taken away, which is more applicable for EU than NA as well. So yeah, that's kind of my take on the situation. So yeah.